俄乌冲突以来，全球贸易持续受到冲击，不断有声音唱衰中欧经济往来。然而，根据欧盟统计局最新发布的数据，2022年上半年，欧盟对华贸易额为4139亿欧元，同比增长28.3%。中国继续保持欧盟第一大贸易伙伴。带着种种现象和问题，我来到了欧盟的成员国瑞典。
新冠疫情爆发之后，瑞典的经济反弹的速度比许多欧洲国家要快得多。虽然疫情的走势仍然存在一定的变数，但是瑞典的出口预料将会增加。瑞典经济向好的一个主要原因就是这个国家实施了强有力的绿色发展计划，这其中包括给重型车辆增加充电设施，以及落实更多的环保政策，通过减税等方式推动绿色技术的利用，看重长期的可持续发展。在斯德哥尔摩的第一站呢，我就是来到了斯德哥尔摩的大学，拜访这里的经济学家 John Hassler， 让我们走进他的办公室，来和他聊一聊有关于瑞典、有关于欧盟同中国的经济贸易合作关系的前景。Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Good to meet you in Stockholm. Bilateral trade between China and the EU jumped significantly in the first quarter of this year. The figure was 12.2% year on year to reach over $205 billion US dollars. So that is a robust rise, means China and the EU still share the broad common interest and the profound foundation for cooperation, in your opinion?
Yes, I think so. And of course, it's hard to make much of one quarter development, but certainly there is very strong arguments for a strong and increasing trade between China and EU. We have a lot of common interests, and I hope that they will be exploited.
The relation actually was very controversial in past years, but shall we say in this year, by the end of this year, will we see any breakthrough between China and the EU?
I see large common gains from a strong cooperation. I see a strong potential actually for Sweden and China to join forces is in carbon capture and storage. You know, taking care of the emissions that come from large emitters like steel plants or coal power plants and so on. The transition to climate neutrality will phase out a lot of old business opportunities, but new will arise. And for that, so these are just two sides of the same coin, but it will create lots of business. Volvo is a good example also of a Chinese-Swedish cooperation. When it comes to the larger issue about electric car markets, then the big turnaround came in Europe. So I think it's very good that climate issues and environmental issues become part of the business bottom line, that it's not just corporate social responsibility. It's a matter of survival for the firms to become environmentally friendly. I think trends in the same direction in China.
结束了在斯德哥尔摩大学的采访，下一站我们就是要前往哥德堡的沃尔沃公司，同这家公司的总裁罗文来聊一聊这家瑞典汽车制造企业是如何应对眼下的环境变化的。Hi Jim, good to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. As the first brand of the automotive industry to issue the environmental declaration, what practice has Volvo met in terms of environmental protection?
I think Volvo is different in that our company is almost 100 years old, and I think from the very origins of the company, sustainability was always a core value within the organisation, and then of course into the manufacturing processes themselves. And our move towards electrification is obviously a huge enabler of us to reduce our carbon footprint. And so we've said we'll be 100% electric car company by 2030. We'll be halfway there by 2025. And by 2040, we'll be completely carbon neutral as an organization. And I think that's one of the advantages.
Based on the above environmental protection agreement, what attempt has Volvo made in developing the new environmental protection technologies?
We just announced that we'll build a new factory in Europe, in Slovakia. And that will be the first factory that we've built in Europe for almost 60 years, maybe even be a little bit longer than 60 years. And what that's allowed us to do is, from the very design phase, we can design, and that from the start will be a carbon neutral facility as it comes alive as a manufacturing facility. It also allows us to have the best, let's say, production efficiencies, because we'll be able to use all of the Industry 4.0 capabilities and technologies that are now available. So in terms of digitization and also the movement of goods. And really, when you boil that down, what that means is that we can produce as many cars in a much smaller footprint than we've ever managed to do before.
We are all aware of Volvo's contribution to environmental protection, and what aspects of Volvo's sense of social responsibility are reflected?
Again, it's not just about Volvo, it's about how we engage with our environment, but we also set for our supply base. And they understand if they want to do business with Volvo, then they need to adhere to those stringent standards that we set for ourselves. But really the big push on that, and I think one of the brave move is for Volvo to be one of the very first people that stood up and said, we will be an electric car company by 2030 and halfway by 2025. That very clear statement that we made means that there's no ambiguity. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no maybes. We have a certain timeline. And what that does is it allows us then to make every single decision that we make for our company.
My next question about you yourself in your new life in Volvo. So your debut after taking office was to attend the 8th Electric Vehicle 100 Forum in China and give a video speech. So why do you choose China? What kind of layout consideration do you have for the Chinese market?
Well, China's an important market. One of the markets which we think is moving in terms of towards electrification very quickly. You're also seeing a lot of new technologies, especially around battery and battery technologies as well. I thought it was important very early on in my tenure that I also would address the Chinese community, if you like, to say this is the stance for Volvo cars. This is what it means for China. And I thought it was important that the Chinese consumers, our Chinese partners in terms of supply partners and so on, heard that directly from me as the new CEO of the company.
So after joining Volvo, what idea and change do you hope to bring Volvo to the users?
And of course, I've been to China for many years. I've been going to China since 1994, I think, and watched that tremendous growth in terms of the technology and the prosperity of the Chinese people. So it's been great to watch that, and it's helped me maybe understand some of what I think is important for those consumers. And I think one of the things which is important to the Chinese consumer when they're buying a product, that they know this is a company that really understands how to build cars. We've been doing it for 100 years. This is a company that understands how to bring new technology into cars. Not just safety technology, but lots of different technologies. So when you buy from Volvo as a Chinese consumer or as a global consumer, then you have confidence that our quality, our reliability, our safety, the build quality, the products themselves is premium, as it should be, but also that we'll be around to make sure that we can service you and look after you. Should you have any problems with the car, we're going to stand up and make sure that we look after our customers.
沃尔沃是中国资本增强世界话语权的体现，同时它也代表着欧洲先进的环保理念进入中国。互相成就、共同发展是在单边主义横行、右翼势力抬头的当下，世界各国真正的追求。而沃尔沃正是中国与欧洲之间互利共赢、共同发展的典范。它体现出中国与瑞典、中国与欧洲之间相互的默契和信任。中欧经贸合作的丝丝暖意，正在给这个动荡变化的世界注入更多的稳定性、确定性和正能量。